There's this fascinating reality about the church herself and how there's this three-tiered dimension in the one holy Catholic Church. There's the church suffering, or those in purgatory whom we should pray for each day. There's the church militant, or us still battling to grow in holiness and seeking to avoid any deadly sins in our lives. And there's the church triumphant, or those already in heaven. And here lies the beauty of Mary and all of the saints. For any time we celebrate the most holy Mass to worship Christ and seek to live a holy life, the saints are there to help us, and so is Mary. And this was the experience of all Christians throughout history, this real maternal love and care which was received from Mary in the spiritual life as they sought to grow in holiness. And it is important for us to reflect on her immaculate heart, a heart that did not seek to be guided by her own senses or her will alone, but she was always leaning on God's grace to lead her, a heart that was always leaning on God and His law to guide her in this life. She understood they weren't rules to follow, but these boundaries to remain in love. The God she cherished, the God of her people, the God that created everything around her, was with her. In her love for God, she understood and was already seeing the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, or in other words, those who keep the commandments of God. For outside them is spiritual death, destruction, and chaos, a reality of not being in communion with the Lord, and a lack of direction for souls to grow in holiness and sanctity. This is something she understood from her youth as she was full of grace. She realized the world really had nothing to offer her, but God offered her everything. She understood it was from God where she received her family, her friends, her food. Even her ability to live uprightly was a grace from this intimate relationship with God. For at every moment she relied on grace, and grace was given to her because she looked only toward her Lord, and to remain with Him was her only goal. In this way, her immaculate heart teaches us to rely on God's grace at every moment, to seek it out, to ask for it, and it will be given to you. For it is by grace that we are kept from sinning, especially deadly sins. And when we begin to notice this in our lives, we begin to realize what St. Paul meant when he said, "It is by grace that you are saved, and this is not your own doing." In other words, it's God's redeeming work acting in you and sanctifying your soul in the path to eternal life, to lead you to eternal life in a world where there is deadly sins, destruction, and chaos.